What up, boys? Welcome back to another Clash Royale balance change review. For some reason, I have in my head that we didn't do one of these last month. I don't know why I think that, because usually I just sort of sit down for 10 minutes and talk, and I upload that, and it's like no issue. So I don't see why I wouldn't have done one last month. Like, I don't remember being anywhere, like, at the time balance changes are announced. So I don't really know. I feel like I didn't do one last month. But also, I don't know why I wouldn't have done one last month. But yeah, I know it's probably easier for me just go check my own channel to see if I did one than sit here and rant about it as the intro to the video. But I guess it's already happened now. But yeah, today we're getting into the quote-unquote Season 4 balance changes. I just realized they don't actually give us a month anymore. But I guess this is the October balance change for those of you who are OG to this game called Clash Royale. Anyway, it's very nice. We have a Reddit post and they explain like all of the changes. I have only seen this one because I've just sat here and seen it. So Witch is getting reworked. Her hit points going down 12%. We'll read what that means down here. Her damage is going up 220%, which is actually quite mad. This makes her one-shot stuff now. I don't know what, but it'll definitely make her one-shot stuff now. Her hit speed is going down minus 40% to compensate for this, and her splash is going down almost 50% again, compensating for this. Changes to her spawn skeletons. 4 skeletons now spawn around the Witch. So you're getting one more skeleton, but they don't spawn in a line in front of her. They spawn in like a diamond, I guess, around her. I guess we'll have to see how that works. Her spawn time is getting slower because you're getting one more skeleton, so it makes it a little bit slower. And no longer spawn skeletons when destroyed, which is very, very useful when you're like poisoning her or whatever. Which has been a difficult card to balance since Clash Royale's debut. 100%, she needed a rework, not a nerf. I've said this in videos. When we began the process of reworking cards, Witch was near the top of our list. Thank you. They actually listened to some things that the community say. Our goal is to remove her most frustrating element. Endless skeletons, preventing melee units from reaching her. 2,000,000%. This is what makes her a toxic card. Although, this makes it harder for stuff to reach her, because you can no longer place behind her if the skeletons surround her, but I don't know, I guess we'll see. Spell resistance, which of course then leads to this, because if you spell her, and she's resistant to those spells, and then she's tanked for, the endless skeletons still spawn, because no matter if she has 1 HP or full health or 4 HP, she still spawns the same amount of skeletons, so these two like paired together make her extremely annoying. And skeletons moving the Witch causing retargeting, yes, I don't know, that's not a big one, because Witch, like, in herself doesn't actually do too much damage, so it's not really an issue. The new Witch will be much closer to a musketeer than a wizard. Her bolts are very powerful, able to defeat a princess or a dark goblin in a single attack. I told you she'll one-shot stuff now. She retains a bit of splash area and can now be defeated by Fireball and Zap. Very useful, especially now that she doesn't give out those skeletons when she dies. Fireball Zap kills her. I think now, like, she's not going to be that much of a menace on ladder. That's going to be so much better. She has the same health as a hunter now. Each wave will spawn 4 skeletons around her in a square, so not a diamond. I guess they'll be in corners around her, opposed to one in front, one behind, left and right. She works a lot more like the Clash of Clans Witch. I don't really know what that means, and hopefully finds place in the meta while making you pull your hair out. Yes! I'm so happy, because now the toxic elements have been removed, which is a fine card, or in theory, she's a fine card. And what this means is that if she's too strong, they can nerf her. Don't have to rework her. If she's too weak, they can buff her. Don't have to rework her. This is such a good groundwork for the Witch. Big fan of this. This gets, like, I don't know, a 9 out of 10 for me. The only thing I'd like to have seen is just less skeletons. Like, but I think they obviously have beta tested it more than I have, because I've beta tested it 0 times. So they know what's right more than I do. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 and trust them. Night Witch getting a small buff. A bat spawned when destroyed from 2 to 4. With the removal of the Witch's death spawn skeletons, we've decided the Night Witch's focus should be more about her death spawn. She's slowly trending down in the usage chart, so we have increased the number of bats released when she's destroyed to 4 to make her a more compelling supporting troop. Don't know how I feel. It's a buff, but it's not that big. Like, I don't know. If Night Witch, as they said, is trending down, right? And she was never really high for, like, I don't know, the past year or so. So, I don't really know. It's a nice buff. Will it be enough to make her good? No. So, in my opinion, it's in the right direction, but it doesn't actually change anything. So, maybe a 4 or a 5? I don't really know. It's, like, too small in my opinion. I feel like you can do this and make her bat spawn a bit quicker, and then it's like, you know, a solid 8, because it's probably enough to make her in the meta again. But I guess we'll see. I guess this might just be one of those placebo effects that I talked about ages ago, where they're just doing it to make people try Night Witch out again, and then realize, oh, this card isn't actually that bad, and then, you know, people start building around her and she becomes meta again. So I guess we'll see. In theory, I'm giving it like a 5, maybe even a 4. No, you know what? I'm going to keep it 5. I think, I don't know. I'm going to keep it 6, right? I think 5 should be if it doesn't change at all. I think it will change a little bit, so I'm going to give it a 6. And I think anything under 5 should be in the wrong direction. So, for example, if this witch buff rework here was in the wrong direction, say I think this made her more toxic, then it'd be under a 5. I think that's how my ranking is going to go for this video. Wallbreakers getting cheaper. The damage is going down 10%, and then mass is going up 100%. Poor little Wallbreakers have never cracked the 40% win rate mark in challenges. Our goal for Wallbreakers is to enable hyper-fast cycle decks that keep slow decks on their toes and punish them for expensive investments. They clearly were not doing that job at Free Elixir, so we dropped their cost. Increased mass means they are better able to push their way to the tower walls, so bombs away. Okay, here's my opinion. So they want to keep slow decks on their toes and punish them for expensive investments. They were clearly not doing that job at Free Elixir, so in my opinion, they need to be 4 elixir with more damage, not 2 elixir with a little bit less damage. Because, yes, you're able to punish and, you know, your investment opponent, I guess, the player doing the investment, has to answer them. But it's such, like, they're so easily countered, right? You can literally just, you know, go, oh, well, minions on those, and then that's it. What you need as a punishment is a sort of push that's going to make your opponent have to spend more elixir than they even have. So, for example, opponent puts down a golem, right? You punish with Wallbreakers. Well, by the time the Wallbreakers are there, you know, with your reaction time and the time they take their 1 second spawn time and the time they've, you know, actually placed in the game, that's enough elixir. That's enough time for your opponent to have free elixir, right? There are so many counters to Wallbreakers for elixir. As I just said, minions, right? Skeleton army, right? Goblin gang, right? All of these things will counter Wallbreakers. It's a negative trade, but the point is your opponent still can counter it, and they'll have their golem ready to now go push. What the Wallbreakers need to be is more elixir, in my opinion. You need to make that golem player have to spend elixir they don't have. You need Wallbreakers to be 4 elixir can't be countered by minions, or something like that. So that golem player can't actually defend it, and will just have to take the damage, and you've successfully punished there, and you still have an elixir advantage on defense. So yeah, in my opinion, it's the wrong way. I think if this line isn't in here, if they're not talking about, you know, we want this card to punish investments, it's a good change. But because they've caveated it by saying, we actually really want this card to punish investments, I think it's a move in the wrong direction, as I said before. So I think it's going to have to be under a 5. I think maybe a 3 or a 4, in my opinion. I don't think, like, they've totally gone in the wrong direction, because, again, if this line wasn't here, then this is a good change. But because they've, you know, titled the direction of what they want the card to do, I think it's going to have to be under a 5, and I'm going to go with, like, maybe just a 3 or a 4. I think I'm going to settle on 4, because personally I don't think it's that bad, but it's just this line that makes it go in the wrong direction. Fisherman's been a bit good, hey? I may have said this in whenever he got buffed last time, because I always rated Fisherman, even when he was like, I think he was like 4 elixir and did maybe less damage. I don't know. I don't actually know how he's buffed. I sort of forget these things. But yeah, in my opinion, Fisherman's like always been good, just because of his mechanic. Anyway, we'll read this. Maurice has been fish slapping his way through the arena for the last month. Is Maurice a male name? I feel like that's a female name. Well, that looks like a guy to me. Maybe I'm strong. We're thrilled how he has changed up the metagame, but it's clear he's still a bit too strong. We're introducing counterplay in 2 ways. He'll now die to fireball and log, and he will not one-hit goblins. Okay, this one's interesting. I feel like you could have just maybe... They want him to be a mini-tank. I have a video coming out maybe next Friday that's going to show how they want Fisherman to be a mini-tank, but I think they want him to be a mini-tank, so this is really tough. Okay, I think what you want him to do is be 4 elixir again. And you want him to not die to these spells, and you want him to one-shot these things, so he's a mini-tank. I don't really know what his role is at this point. He's just sort of, you know, he's grabbing stuff and pulling it towards you, like, wherever he is, but it's not really that useful if he's not a mini-tank. So in my opinion, I think you want him to be a mini-tank. And again, I think this is in the wrong direction. And I can only guess that Supercell want him to be a mini-tank. Again, I have a video coming out next Friday that will, you know, reason why I think they want him to be a mini-tank. But in my opinion, for a mini-tank, this is going the wrong way. I think he needs that health, he needs that hit point, so make his elixir higher. So he's a higher risk, higher reward card, I guess. But yeah, not a fan of this one. In my opinion, a 3. He definitely needed a nerf, right? So, I don't really know. Maybe I'm rating these wrong. They're all positive changes so far, right? Like, Okay, let's go through it. This needed a rework, positive. This needed a buff, positive. This needed a buff, positive. This needed a nerf, positive. But I think they're going in the wrong way for the cards, which is sort of what I'm guessing, because they're never gonna buff something that's too strong, they're never gonna nerf something that's too weak, so I'm not really judging on whether they're going the right way in terms of, you know, buffing or nerfing. I'm judging if they're going the right way and where, you know, how the card should function, I guess. Hunter, damage going up 2%. I'm not even gonna read this one. Genuinely, like, what is the point? It just... go away. Snowball is getting a nerf, minus 17% knockback. Again, all of these are in the right direction. Hunter is in the right direction, even though it doesn't actually do anything. And Snowball, in the right direction, needs a nerf. So anyway, Snowball is a high skill small spell, so it's not surprising that it's near the top of the win rate chart. We felt it was providing slightly too much of a stun effect with its powerful knockback. So we are reducing the distance of that troops are pushed back. Okay, I mean, it makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense, so work on that. My ankle just clicked. I'm sorry you heard that. Anyway, my thought on this, Snowball, did Snowball need a nerf? Yes. In short, yes. Did Snowball need a total nerf? No. In my opinion, Snowball needed more of a rework. Snowball needed less knockback, yes, so it's now lower skill, I guess, but to compensate from that, it needed something to make it more consistent. I think, depending on how much 17% knockback actually is, this could kill Snowball. So in my opinion, you needed something to balance it out. Maybe make it travel a bit quicker, maybe give it a bit more damage, maybe a bit more radius. I don't know, just something that makes it a stronger card overall, but is, you know, it doesn't need impeccable skill to be used. Several Clash Royale content creators have also had access to our developer build. Not me! So check YouTube for more in-depth coverage of these changes. Let us know what you think of the changes, which is what I'm doing now because that's all I can do. They'll be in your hands soon. Stay spooky, the Clash Royale team. Okay, so in my opinion, they're all moving in the right direction. You know, all of them are buffing weak cards or nerfing strong cards. However, a little caveat to that is some of them aren't moving the cards in the direction they need to go. Witch has been moved in the direction it needs to go. Very good change. Night Witch has been moved in the direction it needs to go. Good change. Wallbreakers haven't, in my opinion. In my opinion, they need to be higher elixir. Not in the 5 elixir mark, where they're no longer a punish play, but 4 elixir, in my opinion, is perfect for them, because they allow you to even punish stuff like giants. But I think you need them to be less counterable and do a little bit more damage. They need to be, like, higher risk, higher reward, I guess. Fisherman, you know, again, you've nerfed a good card, but you're putting him in the wrong direction, in my opinion. You want him to be more of a mini tank, or I guess Supercell do. Again, you'll learn more about that on Friday. Hunter, again, we're just ignoring that one, but I guess it's in the right direction, so I'm not actually complaining that it's happened. And Snowball, they needed a nerf, but again, I think you needed to balance it out a little bit more than just taking knockback off. But we'll have to see how much that knockback actually is, because I don't know, you know, what that actually means for the game. So, yeah, those are the balance changes. Overall, I'm giving these, they're like a solid. I don't mind them. They're actually quite good. I want to give them a 7. Maybe, or maybe a 6. Somewhere around 7, 6. Oh no, we do this out of 5, don't we? Okay, I'm going to have to give it a 4. 3 is too low of a mark for me to give it. It seems like very mediocre to give a 3. So I think I'm going to go 4. They're not perfect because, again, you're moving some cards in the wrong direction, in my opinion. But they are actually quite good, so I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Let me know what you think in the top right of your screen. Of course, I always leave a poll there so you guys can have your say. I hope you enjoyed this balance change review. I don't know why, but these are some of... This is like one of the series that does pretty well on my channel. It's just me. I don't edit these like at all, you know? I'm just sort of sat here talking for a few minutes and I just chop where I don't talk for a few seconds. So yeah, I guess thank you all for watching. I appreciate it so much. I hope you enjoyed whatever you enjoy about this series once again. But yeah, apart from that, peace.